All right, we're back. I told y'all we'd be back. I brought y'all we bringing around Rushmore. Let everybody get up in here for this one. Mm-mm. All right, and it's gonna be the Rushmore. I haven't watched this, so we're gonna watch this one together. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, this is the Rushmore of Dynasties, folks. I told you we were doing a Rushmore of Dynasties on X. This is a quick video. Just a quick video we're going to do. And this is one of the hottest little shows that's on the internet. So enjoy, folks, as we get it started. So enjoy.
Cup championship.
The New York Yankees under George Steinbrenner went 14 seasons without getting to postseason. Case closed.
No, the case not closed because I'm coming back.
That 10-year gap in which they failed to win a Super Bowl is what I'm holding against the Patriots.
Dan Gable is such an easy one. What are you guys talking about? That's not even close.
I'm going to put you in a full Nelson. You're out of your mind.
My list is the right list. Oh, wow. I don't even know why we're going to have a conversation with all
Whoa. Harry, listen to me.
Stephen A., are you okay with the Patriots? This is Rushmore. We told Al this. We've been doing this for now 3 or 4 years. This is Ben Persky, Stephen A.
Nice to meet you.
You're the one that inspired us to finally get off the couch, actually, and get this done. When you guys had on ESPN, you started talking about it wasn't the GOATs of guards under 6'3" or under 6'2", and you guys started talking about it. And I said, we have to do this as a show because with the conversations that were happening, you pulling up what's his name from Phoenix Suns, and I remember him against the Bulls, and
Right.
Ben and I turned around and say, this is the show. And we sent that clip to a certain executive, and they said, yeah, that's a great show. So first of all, we appreciate you for doing that and giving us the inspiration. So here's how we start. You guys introduce each other, and I'm going to say hi. Then we're going to do criteria. That's a very quick criteria. And then we go Stephen A. first. You're 4. Al, you're 4. As we call ourselves, Ben and I, the civilians, because you guys are the experts, are 4. And then we do the 4. All of us come together and fight over
The collective 4.
The collective 4.
We fight over it.
Okay? So, with that, Stephen A., please introduce us to and Al, then you'll introduce us to the famous Stephen A. Stephen A., a little bio from your perspective as one of the great announcers of all time.
Al Michaels He's an institution. He's a legend. What he has done for this business, one of the greatest broadcasters in the history of this business, as far as I'm concerned. When you heard his voice, one of the greatest compliments you can give any broadcaster is that when they show up to an event, you know it matters because they're there. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't a big time event. That's Al Michaels, from his days on Monday Night Football to so many other things that he's done over the years, to him doing Thursday Night Football now. He's just been a phenomenal voice. Sunday Night Football, of course, prior to that. He's just been a phenomenal voice crossing all sports for so many years, for so many decades. And it's an honor and a privilege to be on this show right now alongside him, because where he is where I hope to be someday.
When you were doing at the newspaper writing for basketball, you guys had did you guys know each other at all? Because he was doing basketball for 2 years then, right?
But yeah, absolutely. We met, but I didn't know. I never had the pleasure of actually knowing him. I just knew his work, knew how phenomenal he was. And people like himself are individuals who have set a standard that I feel obligated to measure up to in some small way along the way. That's always been my MO.
Did you know that you wanted to be on camera when you were at the newspaper at that point?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But I knew that I didn't want to play that role because I knew I couldn't. I wasn't that gifted play by play and what have you. I never even tried that. Wasn't interested in trying it. I know my lane. I know that I knew sports. I know that I knew how to pontificate and prognosticate about sports and really, really express my opinion in a very informed yet passionate and unapologetic way. And I thought that combined with my journalism background would speak for itself.
Al, when you were coming up in the business, because Stephen A. is one of one, there was never that type of broadcaster the way that Stephen A. is now, as I recall it.
Well, you might say that Howard Cosell had a little bit of that, but Stephen A. is his scope, his range is much broader. I mean, Cosell you would see just from time to time. I know I first met Stephen A. in 03, 04, I think, when I was doing the NBA. Did it for 2 years.
Yep.
And met him at, I think the Lakers were playing Detroit in the finals that year.
Yeah.
I remember going up to Stephen A. going, I love the fact that you put an extra S in Los Angeles. It's Los Angeles, right? I'll never forget that. And I also found out the A was for Anthony, which I think I'm right. That's 20 years ago, right? I was trying to figure out what that was. And then I hadn't seen Stephen A. for a number of years, but I think he is, to me, a complete force of nature. When I see him, and he's always got this tremendous energy, that the energy field, it emanates, and to think that, does he ever sleep? It's an incredible thing, and to weigh in on all of these things. He's really a unicorn in this business right now. A lot of people try to imitate him, and when you're parodied on Saturday Night Live, as he has been a couple of times, that's when you know you have truly made it. So I have a great deal of admiration and respect for a man who, he's always there. Something happens, the next thing you know, you're Stephen A. weighing in. I love it.
Can I ask you a question? When where were you working, Stephen A., when you wrote that article with the extra S?
I was at the Philadelphia Inquirer.
How'd you get that job?
Well, I started out as a high school reporter for the New York Daily News, and I broke a couple of big stories there as a high school reporter. And the Philadelphia Inquirer and Daily News both came calling, and I had to pick one or the other. And so I picked the Philadelphia Inquirer because it was a broadsheet newspaper as opposed to a tabloid. And back then, especially when you were working for a tabloid, even though they have sensational sports writers, the thing about it is that the broadsheet papers, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, were widely more respected because they were believed to have had a standard that others had aspired to measure up to. So if you arrived there, it really solidified your journalism chops, per se. So I knew that.
Did you have a vision that you wanted to get into broadcasting?
Oh, yes, I knew that. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but the first order of business was to establish my level of credibility as a reporter and as a writer. That way, when I opened my mouth, you knew that it came from a substantive place, whether you agreed or disagreed.
And what was the first broadcast thing you did?
Well, for CNNSI, I was working at CNN/Sports Illustrated had a television show, an NBA show at that time on Sunday mornings, and I started off my career there.
So, Al, what was the first interview you did, or commentary or color that you did in when you went to school and you come out, and
Right.
What's the first?
When I was at Arizona State, I went there because they had a great radio and television program. And I was able to announce football, basketball, and baseball over 4 years. So I had 250 broadcasts in my resume by the time I graduated. And I wound up going to school at Arizona State at a time when my classmate was Sal Bando, great third baseman for years. The next year along came Rick Monday, who had a great career. And then when I was a junior, we had a freshman by the name of Reggie Jackson. So I go all the way back with those guys, having interviewed them, when I was a kid in college. And
did you like baseball? What was baseball your favorite? Which was your favorite sport?
Yeah, I built my career around baseball because my first job professionally was baseball. The Hawaii Islanders of the Pacific Coast League, and that led to the Cincinnati Reds and the San Francisco Giants and 14 years of Monday Night Baseball. But I loved all sports, so I was able to do a ton of other things. I did University of Hawaii football and high school football when I was there. And at the University of Hawaii in 1970, there was a guy, I don't remember him at all, but he reminded Jim Nance that I announced his games. Taylor Swift's father played for the University of Hawaii in 1970. Yes, he did.
Great. That's great. Well, Ben and I are honored. If we were picking Rushmores in the sports world, I think we're sitting down with easy two Rushmores. So God bless you. Thank you for doing this. Since we're the civilians, I think what would you have as a criteria for dynasties in sports in America, North America? So I didn't know if you guys had. I'm assuming one of the criteria is they've got to have had multiple championships.
Winning, obviously, multiple, what have you. That's a criteria. The adverse circumstances under which you won, I think, play a role. I can't ignore that.
Longevity,
yes, to some degree. But it can't. It's a factor. But is it the determining factor? Well, that would put LeBron over MJ, and I'm not going to do that. So it can't be longevity in that regard. But I definitely think that it should be factored into your decision.
What about competitive situations in that? Yeah.
Sure. The road, the road to prosperity. What road did you have to travel?
Do you think cultural impact has to do with it?
To some degree, yes. For me, yes.
Al?
Yeah, I think that what Stephen A. talks about is so true, overcoming adversity. I think one other thing that I've thought about in terms of picking a dynasty, if you go all the way back, for instance, the New York Yankees won 5 straight.
Oh, no, you can't give your list right now.
Okay, but all right, so let's take a team from
I'm going to call technical foul on you, Al. Al, you're
right? No.
Right
I didn't know that you want. I'm throwing them out right now, and I'm throwing them out because in those years, baseball had 16 teams. Now they have twice as many. If you go back to basketball, the NBA, and you want to go to some of the teams that you could put into that dynasty category, there were 8 teams in the NBA back in the late 50s. 8.
Stephen A. kind of gave us the criteria. Thank you, Stephen A.
We're saying winning, adversity, longevity, and culture.
Longevity, right. Overcoming adversity. And by the way, also, doing it with different people. There's a core group that wins maybe a first championship, but not the 8th.
And then the cycle through,
Correct. You keep bringing in new folks.
Okay.
Stephen A., you're going to start.
Well, first of all, the Celtics, the Yankees. Let's not forget the Yankees. I mean, it's easy. That's an easy one right there.
Which Yankees?
We have well, shoot. I mean, I was born in 67. I know what they were doing in the 60s and stuff like that, but not compared to what I knew they were doing with Jeter and those boys when they won 4 championships in a 5 or 6 year span with Mariano Rivera, Jeter, and the rest of the crew.
It was what,
I would say Yankees.
97.
Of course, the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s.
I love you for that because I'm from Chicago. I love you for that. I disagree with you, but I love you for that.
And I'm going to tell you the Los Angeles Lakers of the 80s.
So my 4 would be the New England Patriots of the 21st century. 20 years,
Thank you.
6 Super Bowl championships, 9 Super Bowl appearances.
Thank you, Al.
Always in the hunt. Always. Okay? That's 20 years worth. And again, Brady, Belichick, we know what they were. But they also brought in different parts during that period of time. Number 2, UCLA basketball, 10 championships in 12 years under John Wooden. In the 60s, and going into the 70s, where he ended his career with another championship. I got to go with the Chicago Bulls with the 6 in 8 years. And then Michael was gone, and then he came back, and, they did it again. 3+3. So they're there. And my fourth, I'm going a little bit off the grid here. The Edmonton Oilers in the 80s.
I knew it was coming.
I
knew it was coming.
They won 4 with Gretzky. They traded him to Los Angeles, and the following year they came back without Gretzky and won it again. They won the Stanley Cup. And again, a lot of that has to do with the fact, as I said before, when Stephen A. talks about the Celtics with Russell and all, fantastic. They won all those championships between like 59 and 66.
Right.
The thing was with that team, the NBA had 8 teams. 8. So that's why,
the shooting percentage was 32%.
They were the best of 8, as opposed to now when each league has like 30 teams. It's so much harder to be a dynasty these days.
And I'm fine with that list. I'm still sticking. He makes a good argument against my Celtics. I know that it's those Celtics.
We're going to come back to the argument.
I know that.
I'm saying Bulls 90s, no question. Best basketball team ever.
Is that because of cultural impact?
It's part cultural, but 6 rings in 8 years. Jordan leaves for a year. That's what Al's saying. Jordan leaves for a year, comes back. They win again. 96 Bulls, probably the best team in any sports. That's the best sports team ever, I'd say.
I'm so mad at that because the next year when they breaks up the team, that the last win, it's the strike year. He breaks the team up. They could have won 4 in a row. It was only 52 games.
Agreed.
And I don't know why he did that. It doesn't matter. Keep on going.
No, it does. It's petty.
It's so crazy.
Okay, we're saying Bulls. I'm saying Bulls. I'm saying Patriots. I agree with Al. 21st century Patriots. Like, there's not really an argument. 6 rings and whatever. Also, I think there's an argument to be said that it has to be more consecutive than the Patriots rings were, but it was Belichick and Brady through. Teams changed. I mean, he's like Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. That's one dynasty. And even in the years they didn't win, whatever, like 07.
Al, you just said that because you and I don't want to get in trouble with Robert Kraft because he's such a close friend. Of course. But they're incredible. Keep on going.
No, they're there. Also, even off year, like 07, they went undefeated. Okay,
we
Bulls,
have not made a
Patriots.
decision.
I'm saying UConn women's basketball. 11 rings in 20 years. I think, 2014, 2015, won 111 games in a row. The most dominant modern-day sports franchise or sports dynasty.
Hard to argue.
I'm saying Nick Saban's Bama. I think, 6 rings in 10 years?
I didn't think you were going to go there, Al.
And
or Stephen A.
I think that the most dominant leaves and it's done. Yeah.
Well, it's not done because he leaves.
Yeah.
It's done because of NIL. So stop.
Well,
you don't know what you're talking about. Now you're acting like a civilian.
okay, that's my job.
Okay.
All right, that's my 4.
One other reason the Patriots would be my number 1 is you have 2 decades. You get a long period of time. But don't forget, obviously, Brady and Belichick and Kraft is the great triumvirate there. But also the one year that Brady gets hurt, 2008, in the opener, in the first quarter, and he's gone for the season, and they put Matt Castle in there. That team won 11 games, and only because of the way the math was at that point did they not go to the playoffs. But the one year that they don't have Brady, 11-5.
Yep.
So it speaks to me.
May I chime in about that? May I chime in about that point?
Of course.
Please, we'll wait for the chime in.
While he goes on about Brady, and this is the great Al Michaels we're talking.
Come on, guys.
I'd like to remind him
Not talk about
that after they won a 3rd Super Bowl, they went another 10 years.
Correct.
Without winning anything.
Mm-hmm.
From 2004 to 2014,
Right.
Brady, Will Belichick, and those guys, not only did they not win a Super Bowl, they went undefeated during the regular season after they got Randy Moss. They lost in the AFC Championship game in 2006 to Peyton Manning and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Came back the following year, picked up Randy Moss because they needed a receiver, went undefeated regular season, undefeated during the playoffs, and they got held to 14 points against the New York Giants, lost that Super Bowl. 4 years later, they come back in 2011. They lose again to the New York Giants, and then they win in 2014. So that 10-year gap in which they failed to win a Super Bowl is what I'm holding against the Patriots.
Well, like I say, they stink. It's as simple as that. They just stink. No, it's so true.
Hold on, I got to get my 4, and then we're going to have this fight.
All right,
Wait, one second. I got to bring one thing. Stephen makes a great point there. It's also funny. People think about the New York Yankees.
Guys.
Hold on. They think about the New York Yankees and Steinbrenner and all that, and the great market and the fact that baseball didn't have a salary cap. The Yankees went between, I think, 81 in the World Series until 95 without getting to postseason. Think about that. The great exalted New York Yankees under George Steinbrenner went 14 seasons without getting to postseason. Case closed.
No, the case is not closed because I'm coming back. You can't case close anything until we get to.
All right, you're four. Let's hear it.
4. Okay, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, as it relates to the first one on the list. Not that we're doing first, Al. Okay, Dan Gable won 20 NCAA titles in 26 years, including 9 seasons undefeated, and that's without including Dan Gable's own winning as a wrestler himself. Go with UCLA, Underwood. You just have to do it. They've got to be on the list. And then from 1920 to the 50s, I'm not even talking the 80s. You can't, I mean, I hate them because I'm a Cubs fan. You got to go with the Yankees. Okay? You got Mickey, Yogi, Whitey Ford. I mean, that was unbelievable. I think it was, they won 8 World Series, 6 World Series, 8 American League pennants over the decades. You have to go with them. Now the hard one is, for me, the 4th. I hear everything you said about the Patriots.
Dan Gable wasn't the hard one.
Dan Gable's an easy one. Dan Gable is such an easy one. What are you guys talking about? That's not even close.
Oh
okay,
my
you
God.
guys got to stop. Okay? You know I'm a Bulls fan. Stephen A. is a friend of Michael. He kills me in golf all the time. I think the Celtics argument is good. I'm going to go with the Montreal Canadiens. 1950s to the 70s. 10 Stanley Cups in 15 years. They were the greatest dynasty in hockey history. Win 4 straight Stanley Cup championships. 10 players from this dynasty go on to the Hall of Fame. You got to go with them. I mean, so my list is the right list. I don't even know why we're going to have a conversation with all this.
Whoa. Harry, listen to me. So the Canadians won most of those in a 6-team league. 6.
Agreed.
Boston, Chicago, Detroit, New York, Montreal, Toronto. Okay.
Size of a division.
So, I'm with you. Okay. But here's the other thing. Do you realize more people would know who Gorgeous George is than Dan Gable? What are you talking about?
Dan Gable won. What are you guys talking about? 20 and you guys
Dan
got
Gable.
to
This
stop.
is Dan Gable getting stricken immediately.
No, Stephen A., help me here. Come on.
I can't help you. I can't help you with this
No one's
kind of
helping you with
conversation, my man. You know what I'm saying? I know my lane. I can't help you with that.
Does anybody in any of our lists win more than that guy? I know
I'm gonna put
Gino.
I'm going to put you in a full Nelson. I'm telling you, you're out of your mind.
All right, let's see. All right, so let's go through.
Okay, so I think for sure one for all of us is probably UCLA under John Wooden.
Okay.
I'm there.
You
Okay.
go with that, Steve?
I'm there.
Right?
I can modify my thinking on that one because
between
UCLA
Kareem
when
and
John
Walton.
Wooden was obviously dominant. Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar prior to that. I mean, it speaks for itself. Their level of dominance without question.
And every other player that was on those teams. Incredible.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you
Jamal
could argue that
Wilkes.
coaches, and you could argue that
Yes.
coaches and how teams have run was based on how Wooden ran that team for the last 50 years.
Talk about cultural impact. That guy had cultural
Agreed.
all
Okay.
his books.
Yeah.
Wasn't on my list, but I agree. Okay, UCLA won, no question.
Are we going with the Yankees?
Which
Yes.
Yankees? Which Yankees? 90s Yankees?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
From 1920 to 1980, there was a couple years that season.
We can't say
Yankees.
100 years of the
27
Yankees.
World Series championships, 27 World Series championships. Nothing to talk about.
So we're just
Nothing
saying
to
the
talk
Yankees forever.
Yeah,
This is the
yeah,
Yankees, the
I hate
organization.
them. Yes, I love the Cubs. Yes, the Yankees forever. Yes, they're the
Al,
dominant.
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to put the Yankees in there, but I mean, that's over such a gigantic period of time. But
Okay.
I mean, they were on my list of maybe put them in there.
Pick the 50s.
No one has come close to as many championships, folks.
Put
Right.
the 50s in there with Mickey Mantle. Put that. They're incredible.
I'm
Right.
putting down Yankees forever.
Yeah, we have 2 left.
I mean, 90s
What's
Bulls.
on the list?
90s Bulls.
Stop.
There's no argument.
6-0 in the
There's no
NBA
argument.
Finals. 2 3-peats. There's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about.
And the greatest player who's ever lived.
More cultural impact, more adversity.
Al, that over the Boston Celtics, over the Lakers.
The Celtics played against 7 other
I'm
teams.
I'm with the Bulls. Yeah, I put the Bulls there, 6 and 8. With Michael, the whole thing. Yeah, definitely. And the league, again, going back to
That's right, you're
the
taking
early
the
years in
Boston
the
Celtics out?
NBA. The NBA for a long time, 8 teams, and then they went to 10. And then all of a sudden, when you go to in the 20s and in the 30s, it's so much harder. There's too much competition. Well, salary caps and all the rest. Yeah, I go with the Bulls of the.
You're going to take
the
the
90s.
Lakers out. You're taking Boston, even though the Lakers went out. You're taking Boston, the Celtics out because it was only 17.
Only 8 teams. By the end of that, there was like 10.
I mean,
So
they're
that's
there.
one of your
but
criteria.
again,
That's why.
What Chicago did, I thought, was more impressive. They're both usually impressive.
Well, listen, 72-10, and as opposed to the Golden State Warriors winning the championship, and they were what was the
What, 96?
The Warriors were the 73-9, Stephen A.
in 2014.
73-9.
And they lost the championship.
And they lost the championship, which
So they can't be on
disqualifies them.
that disqualifies.
Plus, they had to go out and get Kevin Durant after that, which is when they repeated. So again, it's not the same. No.
Okay.
I agree.
We have Dan Gable now to argue.
No question. It's not an
What are we
argument.
talking about? How are we not arguing about Dan Gable? 20 NCAA championships. What are we talking about?
I mean,
Stephen A., defend
dude,
here.
you're gonna put Dan Gable above the Patriots? Are you out of your mind?
Am I losing this to the Patriots? And I said Robert
Also,
Kraft,
you called women's basketball. Like, what are we talking about?
Stephen
Ari,
A., UConn
Ari,
women's
what-
basketball.
Can't help you, Ari.
Hold on, Al. Hold on,
what-
Al.
help me out?
Hold on, Al.
What
Stephen A.
percentage? And by the way, I covered Dan Gable in some of those wrestling championships on Wide World of Sports. We used to do all, and he went to one school in Iowa and then winds up coaching at the other school, right? So I saw him in action. Oh, he was great. But I mean, if you walk down the street, you ran into 100 people in the mall today.
Thank you.
You wouldn't know him.
Would one know him? Maybe.
No.
No,
One-
but hold on. That was only one criteria, which is cultural impact. Take that criteria out. All the other criteria we say, dominance.
Hey,
I
Ari,
just can't put it on the list.
when you're dealing with folks who you have openly acknowledged are as busy as hell, like Al and myself, and you combine that with how busy you are, okay? We don't need to be wasting time arguing about Dan Gable.
Okay.
You can do better than that.
Okay. Stephen
You're
A.,
not winning that.
Okay,
No.
Stephen A., why not UConn women's?
Excuse me?
Why not UConn women's basketball?
Oh, that's a good argument. Gino Auriemma and what he did to that program, for that program. We can't ignore Tennessee, however. I think that when you look at the level of dominance and we talk about dynasties, the folks are one of one, and there wasn't anyone parallel to them success-wise in terms of in the throes of competition against them. Michael Jordan had his time. Magic Johnson in the 80s had his time, okay? When you looked at Gino Auriemma and their winning ways, you also looked at Pat Summitt in Tennessee and their winning ways. And I think the combination of the two meshed to some degree that sort of takes away from that. You're not minimizing how significant it was and how great it was. But when you compare that to other definitions of dynasty and how those criteria were met, I prefer somebody else other than that program.
So you guys, the three of you, and I'm going to be voted out here on Dan Gable. We're going to go based on what I'm hearing.
We're going Patriots.
You guys are all saying the Patriots.
I hate the Patriots, but we're going to go the Patriots.
Stephen A., are you okay with the Patriots?
I guess I have to be because Al swayed me with the Celtics in 8 teams, There's a profound argument against them.
We have, just before we lock them in, we have the Oilers, which is an argument. We have the Canadians, Montreal Canadiens, which is an argument.
Right.
What do you think about that? Al, your argument is there was only 9 teams, right? Or 7 teams.
There were 6 teams in the National Hockey League during most of those Canadian championships. Then when they expanded, they doubled it, but the expansion teams were in one conference, and it took them 3 or 4 years to get up to speed. They kept all of the Eastern teams, the original 6, together. So the thing I loved about Edmonton was obviously Gretzky and Messier and that group, and Paul Coffey and Grant Fuhrer was the goalie. But then when they traded, Wayne away, they still came back the next year and won with a different,
And how do you deal with
how
do you Stephen A.'s argument about the Patriots not winning for so many years?
My argument would be, even in those years, they were the favorite. Even in those years, they were the team to beat.
They never had a terrible year. They never were, 4-12 during that whole period of time.
That's fair, but a 10-year gap is a 10-year gap.
Yeah.
No question.
I mean, Yankees had a 15-year gap.
Yeah, but then you go to 9 Super Bowls, 9 over a 20-year period. Whoa, boy!
Okay.
In a 32 team league.
That's fair.
Also, you're looking like already only in what Chiefs have done 3 in 5 years, right?
Okay. We're going to go with the Patriots. Are you okay with that, Stephen A?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so read our 4.
John Wooden's UCLA, Yankees forever,
You know, Patriots.
insane.
Stop.
Bulls
The
90s,
dynasty.
90s Bulls, and 21st century Patriots.
I think that's a pretty good Rushmore.
That is a
I think it's
Rushmore.
good. Now the Lakers went to 9 finals and 10, over the 80s. Won 5 championships. Can't ignore that. But Boston was right there, capturing 3 of those titles. Philadelphia interrupted the proceedings, winning a title one of those years. Detroit won 2 near the tail end of the decade. So I guess that would be a reason why you would take the Bulls and you would put them over the Lakers or what have you. So I can live with that. I can live with the Patriots, the Yankees, the Bulls. I can live with that.
Okay. Can I ask one question before we get off?
Yeah.
If you were picking one team looking into the future that would replace one team on this, that might be a dynasty in sport, and I guess it's not going to be a wrestling team.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Not gonna be-
Okay, stop. Okay, you guys are all wrong. I'm going to get you, Dan Gable. I'm going to get you a little wrestling outfit.
So let it go. Let
Okay,
it go.
I can't. I was a wrestler. Okay, Stephen A. What would be the one team you would say, wow, that team could kind of supersede everybody?
The team that's somebody that's playing now is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A team that's playing now. The Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes could conceivably surpass Brady.
Brady, I agree. Al?
Good. It's a movable feast here. Teams can fall off the edge very, very quickly. I'd have to go with Kansas City as well, because right now they're still rolling, they're still winning, they still have parts together. That's a well-constructed team, right from the very, very top, with Brett Veach as the GM and Andy Reid still has the magic. They know how to bring players in and draft well, find the right free agents, and continue to win. I mean, it's so hard because to look into the future, forget about it. A million things can happen, but right now Kansas City would be the one team that would at least keep it going.
Hey,
First of all,
guys,
thank you all. You got to go.
Yeah, they calling me into the
Go
into the
do it.
hospital room.
We love you
out.
for doing this.
Love
I
y'all,
love you.
man. Thank you so
both.
much.
Thank you
man.
very much. I'll get
All
you
right,
your
guys.
wrestling outfit.
God, stop it. Stop.
Okay.
Stephen A. is going for minor surgery. You know what minor surgery is, right? Surgery on somebody else. Anyways, just been a shot in the elbow.
All right.
And-
So, Al, thank you very much. Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Great to meet
All
you,
right.
Al.
Nice to meet you.
And you should know that I've interviewed Dan Gable and covered him in the past. And,
pull that interview up.
yes,
this
you are.
segment.
And send it to Dan.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. All right, guys. Be
Thank
good.
you. Bye-bye.
Man, guys, that is the Rushmore of Dynasties. Al Michaels, Stephen A. Smith. I want you to leave me your comments of your dynasties along with this video. Do, as we will check out here and get ready for tonight's action. We have CFP news, breakdowns, college playoffs. Yes, the unveiling of the college playoffs. So please stay tuned for that. And please do like, follow, and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate you. Love you all. Stay tuned, stay clutch. Catch you on the next stream. We're out of here.